Working. So, thumbs up. Fine. Feel like I might need 2-minute cross a little bit low. Have my volume at 70% on my phone to see how loud I come across. At a normal speaking range. Not a volume issue, it's just dual marbled mess. At some point I'll figure out how to refine microphone volume for the sound quality on the microphone. Little under 17 minutes for this Monday night ZRacing event. We are riding the triple twist, which goes around Swift KOM, hills, volcano. We don't do the volcano climb, but we Jarvis, which I gotta say, having ridden Jarvis now a few times back and forth, especially this weekend, if you didn't catch my stupidity, it is the Z-Race, or not Z-Racing, Zwift Tenny races, Zwift Insider Tenny races that I was going up against some of the best. Couple, I didn't see one official check mark. I don't look back to see if there was any other pros or listed pros or elite racers in there, but I'll tell you what, I've never felt like I was hanging on for dear life more than I did those first 30 seconds to a minute. We left out the gate at about 400 watts, and it really didn't slow down from there. Even in the draft, I was still needing to do 300 plus watts just to keep up, and I was barely doing that. So, what's up, people, staff? Thanks for the ride on, bro. Hopefully, we'll see who ends up in here in this event. So, this is not going to be a recovery ride for me, but I'm definitely going to use this to keep my legs going for tomorrow. Doing the ZRL Mighty Manhattan course, which is quite a bit of climbing, but not enough to scare me into using a different setup than what I have now. So for The FRR, I use basically the same kit, the Pinarello with the disc, even though we had a few stages that we had to use this, actually the majority of stages we had to use a Zwift bike, the Zwift Aero, or the Zwift TT. And so the lesson I got from that is the wheels that you use might matter more than the bike itself. While the Zwift Insider site and others, have calculators to say how, what combination is the best. I think that is all subject to how you ride and how heavy you are as a rider. Obviously, watts per kilogram are a big factor into how you race. And depending on what your weight is, your dynamics will change. I'm 85.4 kilograms, thanks to someone had not necessarily challenged me on my weight, but was trying to be coy and ribbing me a little bit on my weight, because I actually have the weight that I am in real life in Zwift. I'm 85.4 kilograms. And that's like first thing in the morning after kind of emptying out the system, weigh myself. I've seen that overnight you could actually lose about a kilogram in body weight, which sounds crazy, but there's a great TED talk on what happens when you burn fat. And it's the mathematics of what happens when you burn fat. And so when I first heard that TED talk, I was like, okay, this is different. Not something like, I love listening to nutritional podcasts and kind of going down that end, but this was a little bit different than that. And the person talked about the chemistry behind how your fat molecules goes from what it is to what happens after you burn it. And so ultimately what ends up happening after you burn it is it becomes air that we breathe out. Carbon dioxide, oxygen, whatever else is in our air when we breathe it out. And so that made me think like, man, we're breathing out most of our air, then what happens with the sweat and everything else that we let out? And so I've inadvertently started having a tendency to weigh myself when I wake up in the middle of the night. Not because I'm like, I got to drop weight and kind of stressing out about it. But the first time I did it, I was just looking to see whether or not I was staying on the plateau that I was on, or if I was, continuing to trend downward. And then I weighed myself the next morning. And the actual morning when I woke up a few hours later, I was like, man, I'm actually like, I weigh less than I did in the night. And then again, the same. And this is again after using the bathroom, even at 3-something in the morning. And so I found that from 3 a.m., roughly between 2 and 3 a.m., I'll say that. Between 2 and 3 a.m., and when I wake up at 5:45, I could lose anywhere from half a kilogram to a kilogram of body weight. And so I'm at some point going to dive deeper into what's happening and why that is. I think I've talked about it already, but I bought a device called the Caliber Biometrics. It's a essentially like a gas exchange monitor, respirator monitor. So it's a mask you put on your face that measures your air consumption in and out. And using that plus a bunch of other sensors that it has on it, it'll calculate how much fat you're burning, how much carbs you're burning, as well as your respiration rate and other things. And so I am planning on at some point using that overnight to see how much, like what my metabolism looks like, what it's doing overnight. Excuse me. All right, so I'm going to jump into the event. my legs are sufficiently warm. And then still be here chatting away until the race gets going. But yeah, so I find it very interesting to see how the body works, as that ultimately has been a guide for me on my nutrition, on my training, which I don't really have a training program or schedule. I race 3 times a week, sometimes 4. If you count the tiny races as one race. But since FRR, I feel like FRR gave me a good understanding of how functional my nutrition program is for me. And so I have done my best to stay consistent to how I, literally 2 hours before my race, I'm beginning my hydration, beginning my limited fueling strategy. And I eat throughout the day. Like, I'll do my best to eat primarily meat, and then I'll add in other stuff. Sometimes it's cookies, sometimes it's cheese, sometimes it's crackers. It just depends on the day, depending on how I'm feeling, as well as depending on the season. This time of year, I love eating candy, obviously post-Halloween, and coming up to Christmas, candies and cookies galore. And so I do my best to limit how much I eat throughout the day. Or if I'm gonna go ham because it's a weekend and we're out and we're doing all that, I don't stress myself out about it. I just make sure that throughout the week, especially the days that I'm racing, I'm sticking to really just protein. I do my best to eat about somewhere in the 1 to 1.5 kilograms, or 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. So it ends up being like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of meat, of protein a day. I do have protein shakes after I work out, which is about probably somewhere between 50 and 60 grams of protein, along with all the essential amino acids, electrolytes, creatine. And then I mix in some heavy whipping cream and MCT oil. Sometimes I don't put the MCT oil in there because it's such a potent fuel source for me that I end up staying up all night sometimes, and I can't fall asleep right away. So one thing I can't get away from is my stupid allergies. All right, so again, this is the stage 1 for the ZRacing series, fresh out of 24, doing the triple twist course, which, as you can see on sauce, should be able to see on the profile, it is basically flat. We don't, that one hill in the middle is, I don't know if that's the actual Zwift KOM or just the hilly route that we're doing, but it's basically flat. So, not worried about the equipment in terms of, I think the Pinarello and the DT Swiss disc wheels are going to be the best. Like I was mentioning, I was talking with one of my buddies, Brian Hampton, great racer in the Rhino team. He'll be racing tomorrow. So if you catch him on ZRL, give him a ride on, give him a what's up, great racer. So he was asking me what my plan was for tomorrow. And I got told the same thing. At 85 kilograms, I feel like the aerodynamics on this combination helps me stay in the group, but it's also a good climbing bike. The last time I tested the disc wheels versus the lightweight Meilenstein wheels going up the Titan Grove KOM, I did it up to Titan Pro KOM, and I also did it up to Zwift KOM. My time on both of them were within seconds of each other. In terms of the lightweight was on the Titans Grove, the lightweight was like 3 of a second faster. And then on the Zwift KOM, it was like a second or 2 faster. And so that for me is a, I'd rather have the disc wheels and use race tactics to stay energy efficient until I need to put out the power to compensate for that extra second or 2. And had the lighter weight wheels. And so what happened to me the other day is I was on the what's it called? The Park Perimeter Loop, just doing a casual ride, zone 2, and I was testing out the different wheels, the Zip 7/8 or 8/7/8 versus the disc. With the Zips, I kept falling off the back of the 1.1 group ride, robot ride. Kept falling back, and I was getting so mad. And I switched to the disc, and sure enough, a few pedal strokes, and I'm just right back on after falling off. So at that point, I was like, all right, I don't need to switch out until I absolutely need to. Like I said, I used this all throughout FRR, and we had some wicked climbing courses, and it served me well. Obviously, I wasn't a top contender, but I made it out the other side in 69th place, I think, out of 90 something. So. Oh, so KO in reverse. Okay. Thanks, Steph. Hey, man, the Rhino guys are some strong riders. I'll give them that. I did the Rhino Chase race a few weeks, no, not a few weeks, probably a couple months back now. And dude, that was a tough one. But again, different races require different strategies, different levels of teamwork. And I think that variety, as well as you'll see any of the Discord groups that I'm on in the description, the community itself, people like Steph and others that have been like, hey, next time do this, change that, have helped me kind of grow to where I'm at. Now let's see whether or not I can actually contend today after this weekend's madness. I know one thing for sure. This group's not going to drop me in the first minute, because that A category group, the 690 to 1000, Jesus, those guys were brutal. But that's why they're in that category, and that's why some of them are elite racers and esports superstars. All right, 45 seconds. Time to switch radio stations. Music is super important. Okay, so that's what that hill is. I like the Zwift KOM reverse, very draftable. So that's a little bit of a longer climb, but it's workable. Someone straight off the gate. Huh. Wonder if some of the 500s are back in the back in the mix. Okay, keys off the front. So there's two paddocks. Seriously? Fucking A Swift. Ah, looks like the real bees showed up today. Yeah. Ah. Ah. Jesus. Wow. Holy shit. Wow. I'm sore from yesterday or from Saturday. Oh my God. All right. Ah. Hey, Team Carnivore. Good job, number 5. Oh my God. Yeah, this was definitely a different race than the race last Monday in terms of who showed up and the power. I think I stayed within the realm of being able to have my score still go up. But that front group, when my webcam's off, yeah, hell, man, keeps randomly shutting off and turning on me. I gotta see what's up with that. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know, Steph. But, oh my God. Definitely a stronger group, this group. And that's the biggest lesson I took from the tiny races this weekend is I need to bring up my 5-minute power to keep up with a lot of these higher level racers. We don't have too many courses that have, 5+ minute climbs. Yeah, there's some on, I know Hairband this weekend or this past week did like 5 or 6 races up the volcano. And for me, that's my last PR was like 10 minutes or 7 minutes, something like that. So bringing up my 5-minute power is going to be important. But I think on the little steeper bits, I can keep up. But it's once I get over the climb, I need to back down the power too much to recover in order to keep up. But as far as the arrow power-ups, I was so mad that I got all of them were arrow power-ups. I didn't get any feathers. But I generally hold on to them until like a downhill where I know I can use my weight to kind of accelerate myself a little further. But I know what you're saying. I'd use them after the gap was already starting to form, or the gap was already formed versus as it started to then keep up. I think a couple of those times I probably thought I had, like I was holding on to the group, and then next thing I know, I'm a few seconds behind. But that's always a spot where I never know. It's kind of that, what's it called? It's like when it comes to playing cards, you never know when to make the right move. And that's kind of how I view the power-ups. Is I want to hold on to them until, like I said, I can create a bigger advantage. But in a case like this group was definitely stronger than I could have kept up with. Legs are definitely hurting. Yeah, so I get what you're saying. So I think for tomorrow, I don't think tomorrow has any power ups. We're doing a stretch race. But for, I guess, next Monday, that'll be the next race like that. Unless I do the 10 races this weekend, then I'll do better at using them if I feel like I'm going to fall off the back to stay in the draft, like you're saying, versus using to try to catch back up. But yeah, this is definitely reminiscent of this weekend's 10 races. Definitely some stronger guys. My legs are hurting. So appreciate you guys stopping by. For those of you who checked in on me, I'm exhausted. My legs hurt. No, you can't see me because my camera's being a pain, but I will hopefully work that out before tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys. I'm going to get out of here. Go rest my legs because tomorrow is going to be a much harder race, but a lot more climbing, a lot harder climbing than today. And yeah, I want to be able to keep up. So appreciate you guys stopping in. Thanks, Steph, for all the advice. I will do better. We'll continue to do better. Thanks, man. Cheers. Cheers, cheers. And I will catch you guys mañana. Yeah, Jarvis. It's okay.